What's up, nerds and nerdettes, and we little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big John G from Two Gun Pixie presents Legendary Gaming, and my friends, I am not an ape. I am a human. Get your filthy paws off me. God, I could go on all day. The only good human is a dead human. I love Planet of the Apes, and I am back here with Ryan and Alex, because we just finished our very first game of Planet of the Apes. And if you hear any craziness in the background, it's the 20-sided mutts. They are so excited. They're losing their collective. And here we go right down here. The board, very long board as you see. Kind of felt a little weird, placing it around the table and everything and all that was a little weird for me. But anyway, this is not about me right now. This is about you guys, my buddies, my pals, my 20-Sided Warriors, and what your first initial thoughts are concerning IDW's new title.
Planet of the Apes, I enjoyed it. I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more had I actually seen any of the movies, so I will preface it by saying that I've never actually seen any of the Planet of the Apes movies. The one from '68, the remake, and whatever it was, 2004 or something, I forgot what it was. And then, any of the reboot series ones. But that being said, still, I was able to kind of get an idea of what was going on, a good thematic feel from the whole game. It's a dice set collecting game. You go through through the objectives and through the different encounter cards, trying to make sure you collect the correct dice or whatever, or the correct action cards to make sure you accomplish everything. But as far as dice collection games go, it's really straightforward, really easy to pick up on the rules. It wasn't a whole lot of deliberation of what does this mean? What does that mean? Once you get the symbols down, it's pretty easy. It's pretty straightforward. Interesting use with the action cards of the various different symbols that you have for suits and everything, because that kind of limits you. It helps you, but it also limits you in that you can't just kind of have an overabundance of dice to reuse. Like these will add dice to your pool. There's 3 different kinds of dice. There's white, there's gray, and there's red. So you can add depending on what you have, or you can reroll. But yeah, it was really interesting the way the suits kind of limit you, but also are there to assist.
Yeah, and I like that they use the suits in a couple different ways. They limit what actions you can do on the encounters with the suits. You have to have a matching suit on the encounter, and then they also let you use those suits if you have 2 of a kind you can heal, 4 of a kind you can heal 3.
Yeah.
Then you can discard sets of 3s to get bonuses, or a set of 4 to get a bonus. So I like that they use the suits in more than one way. I also like that they kept it thematic with the story, with the Landon and Dodge cards,
right,
where they stop mattering after
a certain point. Yeah,
they're not in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Once they're no longer in the movie, they're no longer in the game, which we suspected, but didn't really confirm
we weren't sure until later on.
But just to point out, those cards are still valuable because you can get rid of them as sets to do things like healing.
And
they just don't help you on the specific missions anymore.
Right. And I think that's great because it kind of forces you to use this extra feature, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And it also, it makes them less valuable cards, but doesn't make them useless.
Yeah, you just have to find alternate ways to use them. It kind of expands your sense of strategy in order to use those cards.
Right, which I like. I like that the game, basically changes up the game. Yeah. I also like that in this, Scenario 7, they introduced these that you mentioned, where you have to discard the sets of cards for the cards.
Yeah, that was the first time we had seen that through all of the other scenarios. This was the first time in Scenario 7 out of 8. Where it was, you now need to have these action cards, specifically those action cards, in order to accomplish the goals to move forward.
Yeah, and I like, as this progresses with each scene, they add a little bit more complexity, I feel like, on these cards. I don't think in scene 2, you're seeing these multiple, combinations of white and gray on the same card. So I like that they kind of slowly introduce more mechanics that are a little bit more tricky. as the scenes advance.
It also gives you an idea, like, since you may have like a set of 1 through 5 that you need in like scene 2, so it gives you an idea of like, oh, okay, so something like this might come up again.
Right.
Let me sort of prepare myself and also have cards in reserve to help my teammates should another card like that come up again. That was the other thing, is that it's completely fully cooperative, where it's you can swap cards around if you need to. It counts as an action. But one of the things that really jumps out at me is that you're not playing multiple characters. You're playing aspects of one character's sort of inner personality. So this inner dialogue that he's having with all these different components of his personality, which was a really interesting twist on how you get multiple people in this game. Since, to everyone's point, like, there are 3 people in the movie, but only one of them really kind of makes it. So it's like it's hard to have these characters there for thematic purposes. Like, well, they didn't make it to the end, so there's no point having them there.
Well, and it also helps the tracker make sense.
Yeah.
So it's a cool way to keep it in theme so that the tracker works with, this is Taylor's adventure, his journey, but at the same time, have different characters have different, character options for characters to play that have different special abilities. Mm-hmm. So I like that. It also keeps it fully cooperative as opposed to, having, up to 4 additional character markers that are moving down.
Yeah, it's like only one of these markers has to make it. No, it's you have one character marker. This is the only character marker that matters to you to succeed.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the sunrise cycle. Again, I don't know if that's because we didn't run into many of them the first time around, but we, I feel like as the game went on, more and more of those were showing up on the encounter cards.
Yeah.
And those are pretty mean. I like the Statue of Liberty card in Peace is something that you have to balance moving up with the ape throughout it. And once you hit scene 5 or 6, maybe it was 6, where if the ape gets to the end, you lose.
Yeah, it's over.
If the Statue of Liberty gets to the end, you lose. We didn't actually get defeated at all, which was cool.
As far as damage, you only have to take 5 points of damage. I think
we got up to 4 multiple times on multiple of us.
We did. But we got lucky with
healing
cards that came out and things that were able to heal us. So that ended up working out. But we were able to make it through. And it's not like you're out, because again, it's not separate characters, it's just aspects of a character. So you're just limited in what you can do, but you can still contribute.
I was a little concerned going into it. It's basically 2 colors of dice and then wild dice, red or any color. Yeah. So I wasn't sure, like, after having played 5-Year Mission and some other dice collection games, I wasn't sure how it was going to be with just two colors. In terms of, how is that going to be in terms of complexity and, like richness, gameplay richness, not complexity, but depth. And I think it worked out great.
Yeah, I agree.
Because you have white only, gray only, and then anything. Mm-hmm. And really, by varying that up, they've really fine-tuned the difficulty of the encounter.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, and another interesting component to it is that in dice collection, from what I remember from 5-Year Mission, is that I've never seen it where it's like, since there is only 2 sets of dice, it's like, roll gray dice. And now roll white dice to match the gray dice. So you have to have this kind of duality of these 2 things together, which I was like, oh, that's pretty unique. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's a clever way to do it. Really, it just makes the card more variable.
Yeah.
Doesn't really change the odds, but I think it's a fun use of it.
It's a fun mechanic,
yeah.
So it's kind of funny. As I pointed out, I'm a huge fan of the original franchise. And I, just real quick, I'll get into a review later. Real quick, I did enjoy the game. I'm a huge fan of the movie, and I enjoyed the game. Ryan, you have never seen the movie.
Not a single second of any of them.
What did you think of the game?
I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. I feel like I would have enjoyed it a lot more had I seen the movie that this game is based off of, because I would have really been able to appreciate the thematics of it a little bit more and sort of dive into a lot of the flavor text a little bit more and understand some of that part of it. But as far as having seen the movie or not, the mechanics are the mechanics. It's just more about the thematics of it. Is probably and I'm a sucker for thematics. Really, if a game is themed well, I'm like, all right, I'm in. So that was the only thing that, for me, I think I would have benefited from having seen the movie.
Now, Alex falls in the middle.
Yeah.
He's seen it mostly, sort of.
Yeah, I've seen parts from the beginning, the middle, and the end, but I've never seen it all the way through, and I've never seen all of the parts, but I've seen most of the movie, over the years just on TV. So, and I enjoyed the theming. I'm not as much of a diehard for this game needs good theme in terms of story. For this type of game, the story isn't a huge thing for me, but I appreciated the theme throughout it and how they use theme and the story of the movie to change up what's going on in the encounters throughout it. Like we mentioned with the Landon and Dodge cards disappearing, being phased out.
That was great.
Yeah. I do wish that there were more encounter cards in each of these, so that'd be a cool expansion if they could figure out how to add more cards and still have it work with the movie, because it's only a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
So there's only so much.
Yeah, there's only so much that's going
content
on
there without making stuff up.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like it needs to be boosted up with some more cards.
Yeah, it would be add to the replay. But then again, there's a lot here to start with, so I would definitely play this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see how it is with 4 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely having that fourth personality aspect kind of come in and see
different special powers. It's interesting to me, having played a few different games where how they scale difficulty wise with more players. You have more damage to spread out.
Yes.
So that's helpful. You have more variety of cards among more players, but you're getting those cards at the same rate,
and that's
with the day rate, and so people have less cards each, probably on average. I
feel like it might scale out well enough, because it would probably be very similar to actually how we ended up working out, because you're still getting a lot of cards, but you're also, with the damage ratios and everything, like, even though this was kind of advancing at a 1-to-1 rate since there was only 3 of us. So, I don't know. Having that 4th person, it would be, I don't know.
I think it makes this track more dangerous, because I think what happens is as you add players, getting defeated is less likely. Mm-hmm. But losing on the Fate track is more likely.
Right, losing to the figure, like the ape figure or the Statue of Liberty. Yeah,
I think having 2 players, you're more likely to get defeated, just because you only have 2 people to divide the damage between.
Right, I see. Okay.
Whereas with 4 people, we came up against the edge with damage. We didn't get defeated. With 4 people, I don't think you're going to get defeated.
Probably not.
But it's going to be managing this Fate track. It's going to be
because if you have 4 people, one of the characters does prevent these icons from triggering. So with 3 people, you saw that it's 1/3 of the time it's probably going to be ignored. With 4 people, it's only 1/4 of the time it's going to be ignored. So yeah, that is a really interesting point about that. So yeah.
All right. So overall, Alex, you think this game is something that should be approved?
I like this one. Yeah, I like this. I definitely play it again.
Good, because you're gonna.
Yeah. There you go. So yeah, I enjoyed this one.
All right, Ryan.
Likewise, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Loved the theming. Interested to see what it's like with 4 people. But yeah, I'm probably gonna have to watch the movie.
Yes, you will. I got the whole collection, and I have the television show collection too. Oh, wow. So I'll definitely get you up to speed. All right, everyone. So this has been the 2-Gun Pixie First Impression 20-sided shots of IDW's Planet of the Apes. And remember, the only good human is a dead human.